what do we have for definitions, or even like examples? What would constitute? You're like substituting one general term for another general term. So what would be like what would be 3 examples of academic dishonesty? Okay. Okay, so wandering eyes, copying homework, and then taking someone else's assignment and putting your name on it. Okay, so looking at someone else's stuff. Copying and putting name on another's work. Dante?
Using the physical or digital means of getting answers during or before a test, or for any serious weighted assignment.
You said digital or printed means?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, generally, daily homework is, for me, exempt from that, and also something else about it.
So digital or printed means. What was the wording? Like significant assignment?
Yeah, of like a weighted or significant assignment.
Okay. So weighted / significant. I'm guessing you might know the follow-up question. What's therefore significant? I know you said homework. You know, you for the most part you would say exempt. Like, is there a point value in mind?
Generally, like 30-point range, I would say.
Okay. So. You said homework typically exempt because of point value not just being of that nature.
Yeah. Or just generally because it's not as big a deal as like a test.
Okay.
I was just gonna say generally it just takes someone else's word for it.
Like the plagiarism kind of idea, but like, would you apply that to homework too? If you're filling out.
If you go online and like find answers, it's still supposed to work.
Okay.
Or like if you go on Spark Notes and look up stuff for your essay, it's still supposed to ideas.
Come on.
It's not cheating. It's good.
Now, where Maddie says Spark Notes, you were talking. I'm guessing you were thinking like essay assignment, things of that nature. If you have a reading assignment for tomorrow, you go to Spark Notes. You still take the quiz.
Something in my eye. It's really hurts.
She's just dodging the question.
So I was paying
No Spark Notes.
It's just a basic evaluation of the chapter, like something.
I don't really feel like it's cheating.
For reading, we're talking about. Like if you go to copy something like in an essay, that part
Yeah.
you would say is cheating,
Yeah,
but for a reading part, you'd say no.
yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm not talking about like plagiarism.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like going with Spark Notes just to enhance your understanding of something is really cheating.
That word choice enhances my understanding.
Yeah.
That'll be notes in a copy. Anything else?
Like, I don't think I should say
Okay.
that. It's cheating if you're just looking for like a basic summary of like a plot point or something. Right?
You said not.
An understanding.
Okay. So the consensus I'm guessing here would be if you're going to copy and paste for an essay, yes to cheating, and you would agree with that part.
Yeah.
If you're using it for reading comprehension, for that we're going no.
Mr. King, can you get faster?
Yeah. Anyone go yes for reading comprehension? Anyone switch this one to yes?
But I think the argument you make is that like Sparknotes is allowed.
No, I mean yes in the sense of, so the way this would be copy and paste, yes, that would be cheating, academic dishonesty, like significant assignment, you know, that you were talking about, I'm using that for an essay. Where I need to read, you know, Great Gatsby, didn't get to it, so I'm just going to go online and look at Sparknotes here in homeroom before I take my first, second, third period quiz or whatever, not cheating.
Yeah, I see where, I mean, at the same time, it is still, Sparknotes is still, I guess, it falls into the student on the course. I don't understand it. When you talk about copy, it's still it's when it comes to essay.
Alright, we got too much stuff going on here.
Like with copy and pasting with an essay, generally that's a slippery slope. Because
We'll talk about those later in the week too.
copying and pasting a quote isn't a big deal, because it just saves time from having to go through the book and look for it. But copy and pasting an entire paragraph of information from someone else's work, so.
Okay. And the copy and paste thing with like quote that can be kind of a tricky thing because are you looking at like from my standpoint, number one because I like to be devil's advocate, plus I also get the teacher chair. You know I'm going to put yes for both. You know, Jack didn't read the book. How dare you? You're cheating. You're using someone else's means to try to answer the questions. The thing with the quote, and let's be honest, I would be naive to think that, and I'm just going to say Jack again because I always use Jack as an example, to think that Jack has never gone online for any of my essays.
I think the only one I did was for Invisible Man. This is weird.
That wasn't even a take-home one.
I mean, that understand.
Okay, we'll see. Well, now the truth comes out.
I'm just,
For the quote thing, people will certainly go to SparkNotes in order to find information about the quotes. Problem that I would have with it potentially could be, is it because it's falling under a particular theme, a particular literary device, you know, that like Jack has to write about foreshadowing. Here's a whole bunch of foreshadowing quotes. Now I don't necessarily know, do you really understand how foreshadowing works? Would you be able to identify it? That's where I guess there certainly could be a little bit of concern with it. I would say, I'm not going to quote them all off. I have a pretty good idea of which passages are going to show up on SparkNotes. You know, either just because from past experiences, we've seen them all get used before, and you can kind of tell that, ooh, Savannah's using a passage that folks don't typically use. You know, this one might be original. Let's see what she does with it, and then you give her a smiley face and bonus points from you. They're taken away, never to be seen again.
It's not like a clear-cut thing, just for like kids. In 10th grade, we turned in an essay on Hiroshima, and like half the grade failed because a lot of us used like, for like 3 quotes in the assignment, a lot of us used like the same quote, and that quote happened to be on SparkNotes.
Okay.
And so we all got in trouble for it. We ended up figuring stuff out, but like, you can't not use a quote that's on SparkNotes if you don't go on SparkNotes. So in order to not use SparkNotes, you have to go on SparkNotes. So like, there's no way to be like, you can't.
That went over your head.
Like,
You can't like avoid it. Because even if you can use SparkNotes,
Yeah,
So for a book, quotes are going to show up on SparkNotes. So to make sure that Erica doesn't get in trouble for using SparkNote quotes, she goes on SparkNotes to make sure she avoids using those quotes. Got it? Right?
Yeah.
I follow that along?
Yeah.
Okay.
alright.
And it was like every essay was about the same topic. So there was like certain quotes that fit really well with it. So if you read the book, you read that quote, and you're like, oh, this is a good quote for it, and then you use it. She's like, well, that was on SparkNotes.
So then like a byproduct is kind of like a fear comes in. I
Yeah.
have to double check to make sure that this isn't going to be in the danger zone area.
And it's like, I find it kind of silly that you can't use a quote that's on SparkNotes. Like, if it's in the book, you should be able to use it.
Okay. Colleen, would you? And then Maddie, come back.
Yeah. I also think that there's a difference between using SparkNotes instead of reading the book, like, oh, I didn't have time, like you said, and reading the book and saying, what? And then going to like reinforce your like what you already
To make sure you understood Jim Trueblood's Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
So which did you do?
All I know is there's a major plot point we talked about in class, and when you said it, I thought like that was like not an actual thing that happened. So I was like,
I've done that before.
I like totally
Not with
missed
your
it.
class.
Yeah. So then I was like, I don't really understand.
Years ago, Part of Darkness, Maddie's favorite book,
How could you not get there?
Bryn's second favorite book. It was at a different point in the year. It wasn't the first book of the year. I used it the first book of my 11th grade because most folks were too scared not to read at that point. But it was probably being done sometime around now or so in the year. And I could tell, it was my third period class, I could tell all but like 2 people had not read, excuse me. So like of the 15, like 2 had. I told them they can't ask any questions all class. And then I lectured on it. And it was completely false, everything that I said. And I told them that the next day, by the way, everything we talked about, like, take away from your memory banks, because it did not happen in the book. But it was, yeah, why am I going to stand here and give Jack all these major plot points about something that, you know, I could tell you have not read, so why am I going to give kind of like the free answers and all that stuff? And then, you know, hey, it was up to you to try to figure it out, at which point they went on SparkNotes probably did.
So I'm in April class.
Okay, first, this is not SparkNotes, but with Her Darkness, I just want to say that book was stupid because Sam didn't read it and I did, and she did better than me on the test. So I'm annoyed about that. Anyway.
Yeah, but Sam's going to have to worry about, like, eternal damnation at some
Sam's
point,
in
so.
English now, so she's giving up. But what I was gonna say about SparkNotes before I was like issues. I was just gonna say like for reading comprehension, I think that's fine as long as you're reading the book and you just need to like understand something. But like if you go on to find a theme or something to use in an essay, that's still cheating, even if you like don't get caught, it's still cheating. Like when people say like if you don't get caught, it doesn't count like it's something else.
Did Nick say that on Friday?
I think that's
Or was Bowen? Somebody said if you don't get caught, it's not cheating.
It's
That was
like,
it.
or it's
Okay.
like if you don't get, like if you run a red light, it's not illegal because you weren't caught. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm,
still
or red
illegal.
stop sign
It's
and
still
stuff like that.
illegal.
Yeah. Well, and every year, I do catch at least one person plagiarizing. Doesn't mean that's the only person who's plagiarized, no. But every year, some poor schmuck, you know, gets caught. Going strong for like 16 years.
I think SparkNotes can kind of be comparable to using Google Translate for language.
For foreign language.
Yeah, because teachers think that both are cheating, but if you're just using them to kind of help you not copying and pasting it, then I think it's fine.
I've never gotten caught. I think I use Google Translate.
I Google translated every essay I've ever written. For I was assigned me as 30.
Sophomore year of college, junior year of college, sophomore.
I feel like it's
Maybe sophomore, I don't remember.
sophomore what? Sophomore year.
College. It's either second semester sophomore or first semester junior year of college. I was a French minor. That was poor choice. I did not graduate with a French minor because, yeah, I need to know French and I clearly don't at this point. I didn't use Google Translate. At least I don't think I did. But I had a French literature course. So you read the book in French, and then like you answer, like you do TWAs essentially in French, and you know, oh, it was horrible. It was when I realized, oh, I need to know French if I'm going to minor in French. We read Albert Camus' The Stranger, although it was l'étranger, in French. I had no idea what I was reading, except I had read the book in high school, senior year in English. So even though I couldn't look at a paragraph and go, oh yeah, but I knew what was going on, like for main gist kind of concepts. So you get an essay question, and I don't know what the question was, but it was a general thematic thing that I could certainly answer in English. So I slowly took my time because I'm like, all right, writing this in English, and then you try to think what it would be in French. You know a foreign language when you can think in the language. I clearly don't know a foreign language. So I was able to kind of get through with it. I think with the class, I ended up with like a B or a B minus. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. I didn't cheat because I was answering it to the best of my ability, which was not very well. But I certainly wasn't probably answering it in the way that the professor was hoping, because I was doing everything through English based on an English read. If I had not read the book in English, who knows if I would have been able to answer it. I would not have been able to answer the question. If I had not read the book before, would I have done a Google Translate? Would I have checked out an English copy of the book? I have no idea. Probably checked out the English copy. And that could kind of be an argument where is that cheating? Because you're not going through the desired process, I guess, of learning the material. But in my case, I was still writing it in French poorly, not conjugating verbs properly and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't consider it academic dishonesty, but I wouldn't say that I was doing, probably what she was hoping for. I think like math can be a good example with this one, where you get your homework assignments. You tend to get like the odds for homework because you get the explanations in the back of the book. So if Bowen just writes down the answers in his EKG heart gibberish stuff, is Mr. Clark going to look at it and go, yep, Bowen got it, or does it have to be like showing the work and stuff like that?
If you write off random letters and numbers, it looks like work. Yeah, exactly.
Why for, and this isn't picking on Dante, why for homework would you say it's much more acceptable for cheating or tolerated, aside from point value? So certainly point value, understand, calculate.
Whenever it's busy work, sometimes it's just not worth your time, and it's something like a fifth grader could do, so what's the point of doing it?
You said something up, what grade?
A
Fifth grader could do? So the busy work ends up being the main thing there.
I think homework is a lot of things to be very subjective in how they view it. Like some people view it as a great resource to further their knowledge, but a lot of people also view it as something that they're kind of given that they don't want repeat.
Like the intention behind it or the purpose of the assignment? Okay, so, and you use subjective.
Yeah.
Okay, so a subjective intent or purpose. Okay.
I think sometimes it's okay because something like yourself that you're very into, usually your homework's helps you understand things more. It's like you help you get a ton of homework that you have check, but it's saves you to understand what you're learning. So if you don't do it, you're missing out on extra things.
When it comes to being then assessed on the test and whatnot. So when you said she does not check it, meaning like for accuracy or detail,
She
or
doesn't check at all.
or like there's no point value for it either.
There is. This is weird. She doesn't check our book work or our packet work, but she'll give us random packets, and sometimes she checks those. Sometimes we go over them, but then she checks to make sure you check them. Like it's so weird.
Yeah, and usually it's like.
Did that one go over your head too?
No, I understand.
You know, okay.
Yeah, she'll like.
Make sure you've done it.
Yeah, we have to check our book.
I think Mrs. Kane checks it randomly, like for her math homework.
Yeah,
That's how we heard does whatever that
Yeah.
she can't tell us.
I was gonna say for math, I noticed that it's like, okay, these for me, I'll teach myself if I don't know a problem. It's like already done. I don't know how to do a problem. And I like teach myself when I go back into it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm with you.
Hey, so I have like a question, I guess. So what if like, say I have like a question for history, and I don't understand what the question is necessarily asking me, so I go to a friend and I'm like, hey, what did you get for this, so I can understand what I'm supposed to be answering? And then and not necessarily me grabbing their paper and writing exactly what they have, but them saying in general what they got, and then me thinking deeper into it, and then getting my
I would say if you ask a person for clarification, well, like, what am I looking for here? That I personally wouldn't have an issue with it. I mean, yeah, if you're going, I mean, you're not, at that point even processing anything. At lunch, 6th period lunch, I'll have lunch duty. I get to watch Emily eat outside, although I'll be on the B side this time. Mr. Snyder and I were standing there. Kid has phone, and I think it was math homework. And, no, it was English. It was Animal Farm for a little 9th grader. Looking at phone, writing stuff down. Looking at phone, writing it down. And he and I just stand there for 30 seconds like this. And finally, are you serious? We just took the paper away. He's like, what? You're clearly cheating. And number one, you're doing it in front of the two of us. Have at least a little bit of self-respect and try to lie to me somewhat. But it was pure blatant. And then later on, of course, we found a couple people cheating, copying math homework, who were then going to my wife's class. So that was double bonus. Or just simply kind of taking it. Now we weren't actively looking for cheaters, otherwise I would have stood behind Jack the whole entire time. But it was an obvious, blatant. If you're going to do it in front of us, the cafeteria scholar, to steal the term from Wenke's teacher, then yeah, we're certainly going to take it. When it comes to vocab assignments, 10th grade we got vocab words and things like that. Certainly, Savannah and Emily are going to have the same definitions, or at least pretty darn close, because either you're taking the definitions from the books in the back of the room, or most likely, since you're doing it at home, it's probably coming from dictionary.com. So if you and Evelyn and everyone else have the same definitions, I'm not going to have a problem with that. When people start using the same sentences, that's when things will start to show up. And sometimes on dictionary.com, they'll give you a sentence of clarification. And if I start seeing the same thing for mausoleum showing up over and over again, now I got a pretty good guess that, all right, this one's coming from dictionary.com, double check. Or if it's a fragment that keeps getting used, that one, I'll take points away from it. Or if Jack and Rebecca turn in the same list with all the same sentences, they're both going to be losing credit for that one, because clearly at that point there is using, I think did you say putting your name on someone else's work? There's a clear lack of learning for use of the term with that one. But if it's math homework, since we're talking about, you could, all right, so how do you do derivatives for fractions again? And then going the low D high, high D low, over low low, whatever. That wouldn't be an issue for me. Just remember the little song.
Well, so is there something wrong with giving someone your essay, or giving some say Rebecca and I write the same sentences, but she copies mine. Should I be punished for that?
I think so. And Jack's question was, he gives his work. Well, are you giving the work?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jack gives the work to Maddie or Rebecca or someone else to copy. Should he be punished? My response was yes, because you're actively promoting it at that point. It's one thing to say this is how you use the word, or this is how you solve for X, or this is, remember when the Industrial Revolution took place, blah, blah, blah. You're not providing a means for a person to figure it out. Here it is, go. So yeah, I would have a problem with that one. There's a case, this was, I guess longer now, 6 years ago, where it was a similar thing with the sentences and whatnot. I said both, hey, they're the same sentences, no credit. After class, the one kid came back and was like, I was the one who, she gave it to me, I'm the one who copied. I'm like, fine, but it's still zero for both of you because, Sally gave it to Tim in order to figure it out. Where it gets to be a gray area again, and no one mentioned this one, at least within here, would be tests. Now, sure, if Bowen takes a picture of a test and sends it to you, I think most of us would agree, if not all, that that's cheating.
Yeah.
What do I need to know for the test in math today? Is it cheating to say, well, make sure you know the division rule, the quotient rule, and mean value theorem? Some would say yes, some would say no. Well, number 4 is the same as number 7 in our note packet. Make sure you study over that one. That's where things start to get kind of dicey, for it. Something different.
Tests, I think generally asking someone who's taking the test, like, what are some, like, what do you need to know? Or what are some things that were on that we went over? I think that's not as much cheating as what was question 7? What was the answer to that?
Mm-hmm.
Like asking for answers.
Yeah, like what was the problem versus do I need to know the difference between the antebellum period and Reconstruction when it comes to Civil War and stuff like that. I think the issue then that the teachers will start to kind of have is if it puts other people at an advantage to be like taking the test later on in the day, is that therefore cheating because it negates the academic balance that is supposed to exist? I think that's where you start to get issues with it. When it comes to major tests for me, I'll usually be like, hey, Bowen, feel free to tell third period all about it, because there's going to be a different one, coming along for them. A couple of years ago when we were having this discussion, students said anything that the teacher gives that can leave the room, they are asking for cheating. I don't feel guilty about it. If I'm doing the assignment in the room, no cheating allowed, but if it's take home, they're basically telling me it would be okay to cheat. I guess where that gets to be a little bit of an issue would be the plagiarism thing you were talking about with essays, take-home tests, and stuff along those lines. And I think that's where you're starting to see more and more like contract type assignments. I pledge not to copy someone else's homework or things like that. I'm starting to do that more with like Google Classroom assignments. If I give Jack a makeup quiz, first question, I confirm that I'm answering this without using the digital or print resources, that Dante was talking about, because now there's certainly a push for more online assignments where, yeah, it's a lot easier to use Google Translate and all those kinds of things for it.
I'm an old school once you reach 9th grade, you had to buy a rubber stamp. Every time you check your assignment, you have to stamp it.
Alright, let's take a look at Thorne model. The good news is we were just using it, so it should be pretty good.